Commissioner Reyes? Absent. Commissioner Thorson?
Present.
Chair Wendy is here. And Commissioner Mendoza?
Present.
Commissioner Kelly?
I'm in the room.
Perfect. Commissioner Jolly? Absent. Commissioner Ramos?
Present.
Commissioner Brown?
Present.
Commissioner Allen? And Commissioner Malolo.
Present.
Okay, and we have quorum with 8 commissioners present.
All right, moving right along, if we can move the slide up to consent calendar. I want to, can I have a first on approving the consent calendar that has the May 18th agenda and the minutes from April 20th? Did I get a motion, and from whom?
I'm happy to move it. Angelica or Ramos,
Thank you.
And-
whatever.
I could second that, Commissioner Malillo.
All right, thank you for the first and second. Any discussion? All right, all those in favor say aye. Aye.
Hi.
There are a couple ayes. I'm hoping we're all ayes.
Aye.
Thank you. Are there any noes or abstentions? All right, moving on. There's no public, nothing in the folder for public comment, but if there's anyone here wishing to give public comment on things that are not on the agenda, please raise your hand now for 2 minutes. And if so, we will give you time. Okay, unless somebody else sees hands, I don't see any.
No hand.
All right, moving right along. We are, just want to make sure. Moving right into discussion and actions, although today we have 4 information only items. And so we're going to move into the first information item, which is the Youth Commission with Commissioner Huang, I think. Yeah, please make sure I say your last name correctly.
Yes, of course, Chair. And for the record, it would be Huang.
Wang,
Thank you.
thank you.
All right. Good evening, commissioners. I am going to share my screen for this presentation for our final update about our Youth Commission survey. Yeah. One moment. Are you all able to see it correctly? Yes, okay. Apologies, my Zoom screen is being very laggy at the moment. Okay, so this is the District 3 Youth Advisory Council annual survey designed by myself, our YAC members, and of course the San Jose Public Library, amazing people working there. For us as a youth commission, our main perspective was what we wanted to learn about youth priorities in public policy, youth priorities in public issues, mental health, youth ideas to improve the community, which is why we had an open section, and youth usage of our public library resources. We will be zooming through the demographics today, by the way. So we had 1,015 responses, a timeline of March 15th to April 15th, co-developed with the Youth Commission, and email blast with 37,169 students with a 33% open rate. And as for our Policy-thon, which is our follow-up event, we had 3 new attendees help us co-write a policy on gender-neutral restrooms. This policy memorandum is set for the May or August general meeting agenda for the Youth Commission, and this all took place in a 1-hour session. And here are the demographics. This is a bar graph of the grade level breakdown. And of course, except that. This is how many times per semester some youth use the library, pretty avid library users. And over here, we have the racial and ethnic identity breakdown. As a reminder, during our last year of doing this survey, we did not break up the Asian identity into multiple sections as we did this year, and that is why there's only one cell present. Now we have languages spoken at home. The top three are English, Spanish, Vietnamese, and other combined would make the other 134 languages. Now, an interesting trend regarding zip codes and school council districts is that you will find that a lot of youth that answered this survey are actually focused in the southwestern area of San Jose. So it's very heavy in terms of District 10, District 2, District 1, which is why they are the greener areas on this graph. And of course, gender identity with female being the top, male being the second, and transgender, gender nonconforming, other, prefer not to disclose, continuing. And we have the membership of the LGBTQA community to the right and the first generation born in America. Up next, we have future career paths. For this, we broke it down into 4 main sections about what the future of San Jose youth are going to be studying. So we have health and medicine making 20% of our responses, engineering and computer science making up 18% of our responses, arts and entertainment making up 11% of our responses, and of course, not knowing or no answer, which was 17% of our responses. So we are a pretty STEM heavy area living in Silicon Valley. Next, we have support for commission policies. Here is the average score for how positively they were supported. The lowest supported, the least supported was lowering the voting age to 16 in local elections, whereas the highest was recycling wood from construction sites at a 4.29. And of course, our issues, which we also went over in the last time, we have our housing crisis, environment and climate change, and access to learning materials making up the main issues that you focus on. Now, some may ask how we are going to be using this data in the future, and ultimately we are going to be making sure that we as a commission reflect these student issues and these youth issues in our upcoming fiscal year work plan for the 2022 to 2023 fiscal year. Here we have the ideas to improve the community. For the sake of brevity, we shortened these responses into 3 main sections. So the first would be community services, which is 44% of these responses. Some examples include services to the unhoused, education, funding and access, housing, mental health services, so on and so forth. Up next, we had involvement and community mindset. And a big one was climate change. The youth are very passionate about climate change and how it's going to affect the future of the city, as well as equity, volunteerism, youth programs, and political representation. And finally, we have infrastructure and city development with 27% of these responses, mostly focusing on litter and street beautification because, well, who doesn't want to live in a really pretty city? And of course, we have graffiti removal, parks and recreation facilities, improvements to transportation infrastructure, public art, and the gender neutral restrooms that we just wrote a policy on with the public. And here is a larger, more detailed breakdown in a bar graph. So we can see the housing crisis and environmentalism both take up the top 2 main concerns in our youth constituency. This actually lines up with our Youth Commission's past actions of supporting a budget letter that ultimately placed the environment and housing as 2 very important departments that we felt should be reflected in the upcoming fiscal year budget. And of course, my favorite part of presentations, we have some interesting quotes from the survey in the open-ended section where youth or any survey taker could just put in their opinion. So, this one states, since the pandemic started, people have become even more isolated. I believe that as COVID begins to die down, hopefully, we will begin to socialize and form connections once more. I think that it's best to start off with community events that celebrate the diversity of our community. further showing how diversity is extremely important to our youth constituency in San Jose. And the next one says San Jose is a large city filled with the affluent and underprivileged. The wealth gap is huge. Children from underprivileged families deserve a good education just like their wealthier counterparts. By providing more funding for education, giving more scholarships, and forgiving some student loan debt, these students will have a better chance at succeeding in life. This reflects the San Jose Youth Commission's past precedent of supporting youth opportunities in San Jose through usage of community centers and, of course, our amazing public library. And we will go on to our mental health section. This question outlined the three main issues that youth are struggling with this semester. 22% said they were struggling with emotional mental health, such as stress, burnout, anxiety, and with the presence of virtual learning for some schools, this is a very exacerbated issue. Next, we have social issues with 32% of responses talking about extracurricular activities, difficulty in maintaining and making friends, drifting apart, which were a natural result of the COVID-19 pandemic, as everyone did have to go in quarantine, and of course, school. 45% of responses said that school was an emotional problem this semester, since a lot of students in the San Jose Unified School District did have to return back to an in-person learning model. And so some were overloaded by their schoolwork, had a bunch of new time constraints, and felt a lack of empathy from their teachers. And up next, we have another quote. Because last year was completely online, I am still struggling with getting back into the groove of school. I was told by my teachers that we would be easing back into schoolwork, but this was simply not the case. In fact, it feels as if teachers are overcompensating for the material not covered last year. The whole situation has led to a lot of stress, and this further proves the importance of mental health facilities and mental health resources that landed in the Youth Commission's work plan this year. Our next quote up here, I am mostly struggling at returning to an in-person school and learning how to balance my school and personal life again. I'm finding it hard to take breaks, keep my room clean, and find time to work out, all while keeping up with schoolwork. A lot of people may feel like the teenage years are the, quote, easy years, but in today's competitive society where a lot of teens, especially in the South Side area, feel that they are competing against their peers for things such as college admissions, it's simply tougher in terms of the populace around ourselves. And of course, we have the bright side. So we have what students are excelling in for this year. Ironically, 42% also said school, because the return to in-person learning was beneficial and essentially a boon for some students. We have grades, college applications, language, history, English, math, all pulling up in order to help students feel better and excel. We have social improvements, 25% of responses, because going back in person does lead to new friends as well. Socializing, virtually, staying safe, going out, strengthening old friendships, and having a better relationship with one's family due to the increased distance. We also have hobbies, 12% of responses, which hobbies are often overlooked in capitalist society, but they are very important towards maintaining a sense of self and maintaining mental health. So we have some sports, we have robotics teams, swimming, art, yearbook, all of the above offered by schools, and of course, emotional mental health, which was 8% of responses. Some found the time to be good for understanding themselves, gaining independence, self-confidence, time management, and all of the above. School, another quote goes that school is eons better than it was last year. To say online learning was a nightmare is an understatement. This school year has been far more enjoyable in all aspects. I joined an amazing club, which is loads of fun. I'm getting support with all my work, and I get to actually meet people and hang out with my friends. Another quote goes that this year I am excelling in being a friend. Despite having such a busy schedule, I still spend time with helping classmates who are struggling in English. I made myself easy to get along with and made sure to check up on my friends. So this builds upon the social diversity and the connectivity that we do try to foster within our youth constituency. And of course, anything else that these people would like us to know. So we had 3 sections. The first being reaching out, trying to connect with someone. People who took this survey generally appreciated it. And some also took this chance to put in random stuff about themselves, like this person said that they liked the color green. These teens are searching for social outlets wherever they can find them. They don't want anything special, just to essentially talk. The second category was requests, like desired services, materials, library, or otherwise. One outlined offering more counseling support or a buddy system to avoid school bullying. As we are a city board, we cannot control schools as they are not in our jurisdiction, but through offering other mental health resources, we could be helping this issue. There's also the point of having more available Chromebooks and hotspots, which the SJ Access program under the library does an amazing job of, as I currently use one myself now. And of course, we have support for libraries and staff. We had a lot of gratitude and appreciation towards the people who went and made this survey, as well as the people who are working out there every day. We have quotes like, "I love the community that the San Jose Public Library has provided for me. Glad the library has opened up and that it is more open more hours and days. I love the effort and true concern you feel for your community. And of course, thank you for all of your hard work, because we are all essentially in this pandemic together." And as for our next steps as a commission, we had our first in-person general meeting in April. It went smoothly, successfully, and it was a blast ultimately. And we will have our second and last general meeting this coming May, in a week on Monday. This survey will influence our work plan for next year, our upcoming town halls, and how we will want to move forward with these issues. As the environment in the survey was indicated to be a very large, important factor, this will influence us by perhaps hosting more town halls on the environment and how youth can be involved in changing the civil discourse. And of course, our priorities. In our annual work plan, we do set our 5 core values for ourselves as a commission, and we do set our priorities such as mental health, more of a focus on environment, or more of a focus on the housing crisis. And to cap it all off for this fiscal year, we will be speaking at the NSE meeting in person verbally in June 2022 to outline all of the work that our amazing commissioners and youth advisory council members have done in this fiscal year. And that is the end of the presentation at this time. Are there any questions?
First, can I ask Steph, do we have anybody from the public, so I can skip that if there's no one here from the public? If there is, if anyone from the public would like to go first, you are welcome to raise your hand and we'll ask you to ask the questions first. I'm looking around. It's like all our friends.
Don't have any members of the public that are raising their hand.
Thanks. Okay, commissioners, anyone who has comments or questions? I see Commissioner Kelly.
Thank you very much. Boy, that report was amazing. I am always gratified and stunned to see what you young folks are doing, especially when you're an old folk like myself. So I appreciate all of the work that you put into it and all the statistics. I'm not really good at statistics, so I do have a couple of questions for you that might help me clarify what you said. You said that there were 1,000+ responses and 37,000 submissions for response. Then you mentioned it was in 134 languages. Did I mishear that?
Oh, yes. So 1,015 responses, but the 37,000 was the amount of email blasts that we sent out to our constituencies. As for the languages, 130-ish was the number that we had estimated for the voluntary response of other language that is not listed within our survey.
I didn't know there was that many languages in the world.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Also, you talked about average score. I don't know what that means.
Of course. So on the survey, youth and people had the option to rate on a scale of 0 to 5 the amount of support that they had for a particular policy. For example, 0 would be no support at all, 5 would be the most support, and those averages were the average numbers of how everyone responded to each of those particular policies.
Appreciate that. And you also talked about a part of the statistic plan that says open. What does that mean?
I'm sorry, could you repeat that, please?
On part of your talk for statistics, you talked about open response. What does that mean?
Oh, yes. Okay, so typically in our survey, you had a chance, you would pick from a list of options. But open response refers to the type of question where you would type in your response voluntarily. So instead of clicking on something that said yes or no, you would click on a box and then type in your opinion.
Outstanding. Final question. What is NSE?
NSE, Neighborhood Services Commission, we basically go there every year in order to ensure that we as a commission are doing our jobs, and we just go there, report all our actions, write a memorandum, give a presentation, and that is it.
You are amazing verbally. I am stunned. Thanks.
Of course, thank you.
Any other questions, comments? Commissioner, I just want to say thank you again. It is always wonderful when you come and tell us everything that is happening. It's quite a bit. Are you all going to be presenting anywhere else, or is it just us? Like, where will this full set of data go?
Well, in terms of our presentations, we are just going to be going to the NSE commissions as well as your commissions. But in terms of the data, we are going to be working with the library in order to create next steps. We are going to be working with future youth in order to create potential policies. And we are going to be implementing this data in our work plan.
Excellent. Oh, thank you so much. We really, really are so happy that you've joined us as a commissioner. We really enjoyed every month. So thank you for that. Thank you for the report. Okay, let's see. I see a little note. I want to make sure we got them. That's great. UPenn. Ooh, congratulations. We're going to move on to information item B. And so I put in the chat our current work plan, what we do. So those of you that are new, we in May, I'm like, what month are we in? In May, we look at what is like the things we have to do. They're always there. They're the specifics on, sometimes it's certainly when we're looking at the bond or oversight, those all come in specific months. Of course, the budget in the city happens at a certain cycle. So as we engage, that's addressed as well. Some of you have been with us through all of this, of course. You'll see the 2 months that we don't have a library meeting. And so what we do in May is we take a look at the months. We think about and suggest to the administration, and Anne and her group will take notes for us on this, what other things or specific things of interest you all as commissioners think would be important to learn about. And obviously give any feedback or any direction from us to the city from a point of view of support. I just want to remind us all, we are a commission, not a like a traditional board of education or something like that. We're a commission. And so we're an advisory body that advises from our information on what's going on in our system. And when we see things that we want the city to invest in, or we think it's really important that they, let's say, open Sunday hours is the one that we're doing right now, we recommend. So if there are things that we think about like that we have seen gaps that we think the city might, in the end, we want to know more about it as commissioners so we can advocate. That's a one thing you could do. So with that, I'm just gonna ask for public comment. After this explanation, is there anybody who'd like to give public comment who's not a commissioner, but who's a visitor with us? Okay, now, thank you for putting it up. Are there thoughts besides the standard work plan that we have that folks would like administration to consider? Commissioner Kelly.
What happened to June?
June is over here. We start the fiscal year in July. July 1 is the first Oh, wait, why does that say?
You mentioned that we don't meet in June and December.
Sorry, July, right? We don't meet in July and December. Is that right? Yeah, that's right. So June already happened, like this is next year's fiscal calendar. So we're gonna start we already have June. We already have that, right? So we won't need anything for July 22, but then we'll go to August, September, October, November, nothing for December. We'll move into 2023 and you see the months there.
So the answer is that June's part of the current fiscal.
That
year,
is
so-
correct.
okay, got it, thanks.
Commissioner Ramos.
Yes, I would probably note that on this draft 2022-2023 work plan, on your June 21st, 2023, you would want the fiscal year to reflect 23-24.
Nice. Good catch. Thank you.
Same with the adoption. So
Yep.
election of officers and adoption of the fiscal year work plan should be 23-24.
Yep, there it is. Great. Thank you, Commissioner Ramos. Others? Wow, this is going to be great. Remember also though, at each, I ask at each, or the chair asks at each meeting if there's things that we want the administration to consider. And so you have a chance every month as we go through for the administration to consider adding presentations to the work plan. All right, looks like we're good. This was an informational item. What will next month it will come up again. Oh, yep, I'll get you. It will come up again for approval as an action item. Commissioner Kelly.
Yeah, just a couple of questions on this, since I'm a new person. If you go to September, I'm not quite sure if there's 3 different sentences there or if it's one topic. Identify ad hoc committee to review bond and audit security.
Those are 2 different topics. So if you see a carriage return, like a full carriage return, then it's a separate topic.
So, okay, so, yeah, there's no break in the format that we got. So I see that on yours,
Okay.
on this display. Also going into January, library collections is separated. Volunteer services, I'm really happy to see that going on. I have about 7 other things that I had put through, and I don't want to bring them up tonight. Who should I send those to?
I think you should bring them up tonight.
No, I'm not going to bring them up tonight.
Okay, well then you can send them to me.
Who's me? Oh, Ann, okay, great, I'll do it. Thank you.
They would then have to come back to the full body, of course.
Yeah, yeah.
Commissioner
Okay.
Kelly. All right. Anything else? All right, moving on. We are now at, oh, wonderful, summer programming update. This is going to be great. Can't wait to hear about it. Welcome.
Hello, good evening, commissioners. My name is Vidya Kilambi, Division Manager for Education and Innovation. And I'm here along with the team to present a preview of our summer programs. Next slide, please. We will host a combination this summer. We will host a combination of programs in person and virtual. In alignment with the city's education and digital literacy strategy, staff will focus on intentional parent caregiver engagement and outreach, and programs will focus on social emotional learning, STEAM, skill building, and enrichment. Next slide, please. And here is a preview of our early education programming designed this summer. We will have story times in person and virtual. Story times are fun, interactive experience designed to accommodate a wide mix of ages and invites the entire family to participate in early literacy activities that promote the joys of reading and learning for all ages. Virtual school readiness programming this summer, from learning the ABCs and counting 1, 2, 3s to learning how to share ideas and take turns. The library offers a selection of early education programming to support a child's growth and development as they prepare for kindergarten. Our virtual programs will give children an outlet to practice drawing, writing, sharing, problem solving, having fun with a group of their peers in a safe and welcoming space. Ready for K is an evidence-based resource that delivers a complete whole child curriculum to families through text messages, and each message supports healthy child development with actionable insights, research-based activities, and learning extensions that are accessible to everyone, strength-based, tailored to each child's age from birth to grade 8, and are fast and fun to do. Gimme 5 is a structured 5-week play and learn series for caregivers and their children ages 0 to 5. The goal of Gimme 5 is that the facilitator will be supporting and coaching caregivers so that they are positioned through educational fun activities to help children thrive and learn. Next slide, please. Enrichment programming. In the city of San Jose, more than 50% of households speak a language other than English at home. So culturally and linguistically competent programming is essential to the library's mission of providing high quality programming to communities of all backgrounds. This summer, the library will strengthen our multilingual, culturally competent early learning programming targeted at children 0 to 5 and caregivers at library branch locations throughout the city. Summer learning. The Early Education Summer Learning Program is part of the library's broader summer learning initiative, which you will hear about in the next slide, and has a focused enrollment supporting children 0 to 5 and childcare providers. Participants in the program receive resources and materials to support quality early learning opportunities in the early learning environment. And caregivers will be provided curriculum, ideas, books for each child in their care. In addition, we'll also be supporting the social and emotional well-being of young children. To support these efforts, SJPL will curate materials and resources that support social emotional development, and staff will model the resources after our current Books to Go and Grow bags and our We Play and Learn activity boxes. Next slide, please. And here I'll hand the presentation over to Paul.
Hi, good evening, commissioners. Paul Wilson, Summer Learning Coordinator at San Jose Public Library and Tully Branch Manager. Just to go over our summer learning program for this year. This year marks the return of in-person summer learning. Our last couple of years have been sort of online only or sort of a hybrid approach, but the program will go from June 1st to July 31st, as in years past, following the quality principles of engagement of the entire community, a celebration of reading and literacy, as well as providing opportunities for learning and community fun, as well as building strong communities overall. The program consists of 5 different age groups of participants. There are pre-readers, which are toddlers in kindergarten, pre-K, readers, elementary school age children, pre-teens or more middle grades, teens and adults. They all will use our online reading tracking program called Beanstack. It's both a web and an app, a phone app, as well as paper logs for anyone who is interested. Paper logs will be available on our website as well as in branch at any of library locations. The goal for summer learning is the magic number 8. The smallest children are requirement is 8 books across 8 weeks. Everyone else has a goal of 8 hours of reading. Of course, the more you read, the more chances you have of winning the grand prize. Winning grand prizes, every age group is eligible for their own specific grand prize. So there'll be 5 grand prize sets of grand prizes handed out overall, as well as every winner will also receive a $25 gift card to a local bookstore. Children and youth ages 18 and under will get 2 free books as soon as they sign up. They'll be able to pick up at any library location. And everybody, once they hit that 8 book or 8 hour goal, will receive a online grand prize entry through Beanstack. The more you read by multiples of 8, the more entries that you will receive. We are planning to do outreach across the city in anticipation of the program, including at our bridge libraries, our daycare and early child care centers across the city, multitude of schools all over town and all of our different school districts, as well as park and rec summer camps in community centers. While we encourage everybody who participates to have a library card, one is not mandatory to participate in the program. They can pick up a library card at any time. You have more information available at our website for the program. It's sjpl.org/summer. And I thank you for taking the time to hear about this program. Next slide, please.
Good evening, Commissioners. My name is Mark Giannuzzi, and I oversee the summer lunch program for San Jose Public Library, as well as manage 2 of the branch libraries. If you're not aware of summer lunch supports food insecurity by providing free meals in communities where 50% or more of the student population of at least one nearby school qualify for free or reduced lunches. San Jose Public Library has provided summer lunch at various locations since 2016. And this year, we've increased our summer lunch sites from the 7 sites last year, which are not bolded and on your screen there, to 10 sites this year. So we've added Bascom, East Carnegie, and Evergreen branches to the fold and services for this year. The program will run from June 13th through August 12th, so it's a 9-week span this year. And we're generously supported fiscally and administratively by the California State Library, by Second Harvest of Silicon Valley, and also by the YMCA of Silicon Valley. Just to frame our services last year, we distributed a total of 11,880 meals. And even though this year's program is 1 week shy of last year's program, by adding 3 new branch libraries, we're hoping to better that number this year. And with that, I will turn it over to Kyle Burkett.
Next slide. Yeah, thank you. Good evening, Commissioners. I'm Kyle Burkett. I'm a senior librarian with King Public Reference and Resources downtown. And this is my 4th year as the chair for Graphic Novel Making Contest. Every year, the GNMC contest runs in tandem with Summer Learning from June 1st to July 31st and features a schedule of supportive programming that's designed to help customers develop skills related to comics creation. Last year, we hosted 66 virtual programs across the system with an attendance of over 1,200, and we had 193 submissions to the contest. And we also had 386 households that tuned in for the awards ceremony that we had last year. This year, we're going to be featuring a blend of virtual and in-person programming. And the watch party for our awards ceremony will be a hybrid, and they will be held at various locations throughout the city. We'll feature different speakers from our partnership with DC Comics, and of course, Jill, our MC. And so for more information on the program, you can check out sjpl.org/graphic novels. And that is it for me, and I will pass it over to Samantha Kramer, who I believe is next.
Good evening, Commissioners. As Kyle said, I'm Samantha Kramer. I'm our Education and Programming Services Manager. And summer 2022 as the library will provide a range of STEAM programs for school-age learners. The Grab and Go STEAM kits will make a return this year, as they have for the past 2. They feature supplies necessary for a STEM-based activity or experiment and come with a link to online video instructions where the kids can follow along at home. These kits will be available for pickup at all library branches once per week through the summer months in concurrent with summer learning. SJPL also plans to continue our annual 8 STEM and coding-based summer camps at multiple library locations, including several camps designed for girls in order to encourage more young women to get involved in STEM fields. These camps will provide a balance of STEAM curricula, opportunities for social learning, and coding and robotics experiences. Camps will be facilitated by certified K-12 teachers and will also feature enrichment from community partners and guest speakers. 5 of our Resilience Corps associates were trained in January of 2022 to teach coding activities to elementary and middle school students. And these RCAs are going to be continuing this work throughout the summer months, including some classes in partnership with PRNS summer camps, as well as library locations. Our SJ Learns summer funding program will continue this year, supporting programs in Franklin McKinley School District in partnership with Catholic Charities and also with Luther Burbank School District. The projected number of students expected to be served this summer is 730. And with that, I will kick it over to my colleague, Adrian McBride.
Great. Thank you. My name is Adrian McBride. I work with Partners in Reading and the San Jose Aspires program. So this summer, San Jose Aspires is going to be offering a school break enrichment micro scholarship that's valued at $100 in students in the $100 scholar dollars. Any students in the program are eligible to earn this by attending a camp. It could be a STEM camp, band camp, anything like that, or another summer enrichment opportunity. We've also developed a summer award pathway badge. So students who claim a variety of awards over the summer will be eligible to get that badge added to their San Jose Aspires profile. And then thanks to support from program sponsors, we are also able to offer special opportunities for SJ Aspire students. For example, IBM has a coding camp for students, and SJ Aspires has been allotted a number of spots in that camp that we can distribute to our students. And then we have a few other opportunities with additional partners. And then with that, I'm going to hand it over to Lizzie Nolan so she can give the update on teen programs.
Hi, everybody. Good evening. My name is Lizzie Nolan. I'm the Senior Librarian in Youth Services, which means I oversee the Children's Room and the Teenage Queue at the King Library. As you heard from our Youth Commission Chair, Choi Wong, today, the Teenage Queue conducted our second annual survey with over 1,000 responses. And we will be using this data from the spring to inspire some of our teen programming going forward. Teenage Queue plans on hosting an in-person civic summit later this summer for middle and high school students, in addition to an art and creative programming such as a Black Artist series and a creative writing series. I'm going to pass it off to Vidya.
Thank you, Lizzie. We are continuing to plan for fall programming. This includes continuation of the Resilience Corps Workforce Development Program, the Family, Friends, and Neighbor Program, and continued implementation of the college and career, early education, expanded learning, digital literacy quality standards, including new for this year, will be programmatic quality improvement plans. We also will begin implementation of the college and career readiness logic model, and in addition, the new tutoring expansion grant. Next slide, please. This concludes our presentation of a preview of the summer programs. We are available to answer any questions at this time.
Wow, thank you, everybody. Any comments from folks that are not commissioners? All right, Commissioner Kelly.
Yes, thank you very much for that report. Very complete. This question is for Mark Giannuzzi. I'd like to learn a little bit more about the summer lunch program, for example, at Bascom, which is what I'm closely involved with as one of the three. What times do that happen? What days are they? And what do they serve? And who do they serve?
Yeah, wonderful questions. Thank you, Commissioner. The times of service across the city will be from noon until 1, so long as meals remain. So we project what we're going to be serving based on just guesswork and then kind of previous patterns. Bascom will be in a position this year of kind of ramping up, getting a feel for it for the first few weeks, getting a feel for how the word in the community has gotten out and participation and usage of this service. So there'll be a little bit of guesswork at the front end for them to find their target number of meals to order for each day. Meals will be delivered Monday through Friday weekly, other than for July 4th, the holiday. And you had a third question and I forgot what that was. I'm sorry.
That's enough. You've covered everything I need.
Excellent. All right.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Commissioner Reyes.
Yes, I have a question in regard to early learning resource kits. So my question is, how the school or learning center to be eligible for that?
Oh, yeah, but thank you, Commissioner. That's a very good question. Please connect with me if you have questions about specific centers. They don't have to be, there's no eligibility requirement. We'll be connecting with all centers in the city. So if you have anything, any particular center in mind, please connect with me directly and I'll be happy to connect them to our program.
Thank you.
Thank you. Vice Chair Magana.
Thank you. Just a comment. I want to say thank you for these awesome resources. Excited to have my little one signed up in the summer reading program. So I appreciate you all providing these opportunities because I know that's one of the easiest ways to end our opportunity gap is by just providing literacy resources to students and opportunities. So thank you. I yield.
Thank you. Others? I just echo what everyone has said around thank you. Again, another summer to come. I'm always excited when this presentation comes to see what's going to happen in the city. The summer just becomes alive with all this, and it's a really fun time. So thank you for bringing this to us and letting us know all the great stuff that's going to happen this summer. Thank you. Okay, moving on. Laura Hancock is here. I think you're going to be presenting on our expanded learning report.
Yes. Hi, everyone.
Welcome.
Good evening. I'm going to turn my video off because I do present better when I don't have everyone staring at me. So thank you. Good evening, commissioners. I'm Lauren Hancock, the Expanded Learning Unit Community Programs Administrator, and I will be presenting tonight with Lizzie Noland, the Youth Librarian. Next slide. Tonight, I'll provide a brief update on the SJPL work plan for the Education and Digital Literacy Expanded Learning Initiatives. Next slide. The focus of my presentation will be on the implementation of the quality standards, the SJ Learns grant and associated community of practice, school supportive programs, the Resilience Corps Workforce Program, student library cards, and the winter holiday book giveaway. Next slide. The city provides several programs designed to enhance learning outside of the school day. Upon adoption of the quality standards, the city and city departments began applying them to all city-sponsored programs. And tonight we'll provide an update on SJPL quality standards implementation. Next slide. As a review, these are the expanded learning quality standards. This past year, we've continued to design and implement programs grounded in these standards. Next slide. SJ Learns is currently, SJPL is currently assessing expanded learning programs. This month, group observers have been attending our speech and debate and homework club programs. They're using the Weikart Center for Program Quality Assessment to conduct self-assessments. Action plans and quality improvement plans will be finalized prior to the start of this fiscal year. Next slide. Next up, we'll talk about SJ Learns and the expanded learning community of practice. Next slide. SJ Learns provides local education agencies with resources to leverage their own expanded learning program budgets, as well as that of program providers that they've selected to increase the number of at-risk students who attend high-quality expanded learning programs. Additionally, SJ Learns facilitates dialogue among participating LEAs and school sites and program providers to look at broader learning communities and inform our best practices in alignment with our quality standards. Next slide. In fiscal year 21-22, SJ Learns served 1,355 students across 21 elementary schools, and these are our partner organizations, our partner LEAs. Next slide. Another work plan item for 21-22 with SJ Learns was to solidify a partnership with the Santa Clara County Office of Education's Data Zone. Data Zone offers low-cost data warehousing, and the platform aggregates multiple data sources like student information and assessments to visualize information and decision-making. The first data poll was conducted last summer in July, again in January this year, and the third will happen in July of 2022. This partnership has enabled a system-wide approach to data analysis and an open doors for the inclusion of additional partner organizations, something that Data Zone and us are very proud of. Next slide. Since 2018, SJ Learn staff has aimed to develop an expanded learning collaborative with a strong focus on quality improvement in order to amplify the positive impacts of programs and students and their families. In partnership with the Shortino Foundation, SJ Learns convenes the expanded learning community of practice. Unlike other COPs, it functions as a professional learning network that enables peer organizations to exchange knowledge and develop competencies. Representatives from the programs that are funded by the Cisco System Community Impact Grant joined SJ Learns and the Shortino grantees in the fall of 2020. Our membership continues to grow. We are also inclusive of Region 5, the California Department of Education, and the Santa Clara County After School Collaborative. So we're joining forces across the city. Next slide. Part of SJ Learns is to leverage library resources for SJ Learns families. So we will plan for in-person and virtual re-engagement with the families, and our goals remain the same as they were pre-pandemic, to increase the number of students and adults participating in library services like summer lunch and the use of library resources. We'll be strategic to reach out to families or students who are struggling to read and develop relationships with them through program providers and local education agencies. We're excited to welcome families back into the library. Next slide. Now we'll take a look at some of our school supportive programs over the past year. Next slide. These are some of our virtual programs. So class visits were offered both virtually and in person. And SJPL's homework clubs remained virtual for the past year. The homework clubs will transition back to the branches for in-person programming in the fall. So virtually, we had 6 visits with 102 students and libraries attended those. Our virtual homework clubs, we had 119 sessions as of last week, with over 1,600 hours serving 92 unduplicated students. Our Resilience Corps folks staffed those programs, and we had 56 individual volunteers with an average daily attendance of 14 students. Next slide. For our in-person programs, we had school visits and class visits and school outreach. We had 57 visits with over 1,300 students in attendance, and our makerspace was in person with 2,066 makerspace programs, with 37,506 in attendance, over 2,000 hours of programming by the makerspace, which is outstanding. And they visited 23 schools and many large regional events. Next slide. Resilience Corps Workforce Development. This was a new program that we launched this past year, and we piloted it. So I'm excited to tell you about it. Next slide. The primary goal of this program is designed to address economic and workforce development needs among university students, with a secondary goal to accelerate learning growth for K-12 students. These associates are placed with high quality and well-established expanded learning programs, and they provide with program providers serving San Jose students, including city agency program providers. Next slide. This is a snapshot of our pilot year 21-22. We had 63 total participants or associates working in the Resilience Corps Workforce Development Program. 50 are currently employed, 10 found permanent positions, and 3 dropped the program. We had 5 partner organizations that hosted these 63 participants, serving 8 local education agencies across 18 schools. One highlight is that Catholic Charities was able to open 2 additional locations with the support of the staff. They had over 5,500 hours of service, and we will conclude our pilot year on June 10th. Next slide. Starting in June, we will join the California for All Youth Jobs Corps program, looking to recruit participants with the following eligibility requirements. Participants will begin their employment this summer and continue through the academic year of 22-23. Next slide, please. The second cohort of participants that will begin their employment soon will be placed across these 7 host agencies. 2 new folks have come on board, Think Together and Mount Pleasant Elementary School District, primarily in their after-school program. Next slide. Participants at SJPL, that is one of our associates there teaching coding. They participate, they staff the homework clubs by providing coaching and homework help, and they also facilitate in-person coding programs. They were trained in January, and they do that on Fridays and on the weekends at the library, and they will continue to do that over the summer and in the next academic year as well. Next slide. So as they transition into the branches to do homework club and after school programming, our recommendations to the library is that they'll focus on student-centered work, which is in line with the resilience core objectives. They will be placed in around low resource census tracts, prioritizing branches in those communities. Some examples are here. To keep them in small cohorts, so 2 or 3 associates will be placed across participating or across sibling branches. In summer, they'll support programming around summer lunch and summer learning. And in the fall, they will do programs like reading buddies, coding programs, and homework clubs. And they will be at branches just like a long-term volunteer or staff would be at a branch. Next slide. I'm just sharing 3 impact quotes from our partner organizations. They've loved having extra staff with some of the younger kids who haven't been in school for the past couple of years, providing more tutoring groups for the youth, and they think that they're just amazing. So next slide, please. Just a quick snapshot around the San Jose Public Library student card. Next slide. We still work with 18 local education agencies. This year, we were able to issue 34,357 new student library cards, and that is with Berryessa, Evergreen, Notre Dame, those 3 schools, and Campbell Union High School. Those 4 school districts are new to the program, bringing our total to 95,516. Next slide. And with that, I will pass it to Lizzie Noland, and I'm available for questions after the presentation. Thank you.
Thanks, Lauren. As Lauren mentioned, I'm going to give you guys a brief update on Winter Holiday Book Giveaway. Next slide, please. So the Winter Holiday Book Giveaway is a part of the library citywide literacy program, such as summer learning, which you heard about earlier this evening. And our Winter Holiday Book Giveaway happened during late December, early January. The program had 2 components. The first was a book giveaway at branches for the general public. Kids and teens were eligible for 2 books at any library location. And in 13 days, the library gave away 13,000 books to youth. The second part was educators from schools and youth programs entered to win a book bundle of 50 new books. And then in that same 13 days, 248 educators applied to be part of the book bundle. And then over the spring, we distributed over 7,000 books. Next slide. If we take a closer look at those book giveaways, so that was the giveaways at branches, we saw a pretty even spread across branches. And like our summer learning program, we saw the largest participation from our reader age group, which is youth ages 5 to 10. Next slide. Drilling down into the educator book giveaway, we saw citywide participation and high engagement from across, again, all districts, but especially from District 7. We had a lot of interest from our elementary school age group, and we had some special requests for bilingual and Spanish books as well. Next slide. During the winter program, library staff also connected with the wider San Jose community. For example, the Berryessa library staff provided the Berryessa Union School District books for a vaccine event, and then youth services here at King staffed also provided CASA foster families books for their holiday gifts. Next slide. We also heard from educators from across San Jose that they were really thankful for the new books for their students. So here's an Instagram post from a James Lip teacher and a teacher picking up books from the Oak Grove High School at our Edenvale branch. And then next slide. Here are some middle schoolers at Ocala STEAM Academy enjoying a diverse good day of good weather and their new books. Thank you. That is concludes my presentation. And as Lauren said too, I am around for questions if you have any.
Thank you. It's so much. I love these end of the year report outs. My goodness. Okay, so any folks from the would like to comment from the public before we go to commissioners? Seeing no hands raised, Commissioner Kelly.
Yes, here I am again. That was another excellent presentation. I was happy to see that you're working with private schools. Is that something that you're going to be expanding on? That would be one question. Second question is, this evening I was at an event just before I signed on to this, and I had a gentleman who was interested in becoming a coding volunteer. How does one become a coding volunteer?
I can answer both those questions. They can reach out to any one of us and we can connect them with volunteer services. And I'm sure that there is a volunteer email address that we can share with you to make sure that he has the right contact information, or jason.pell@sjlibrary.org.
You're talking about Jason would do it?
Jason.pell, P-E-L-L, @sjlibrary.org. He runs our volunteer services.
Okay, good. I'll contact him.
And then the second question about private schools, we absolutely would love to work with more private schools. So if you have any connections, we will take them and connect with them. Thank you.
Great, love to do that. Thank you.
All right, any others? Commissioner Reyes. I think you're on mute.
Oh, sorry.
There you go.
My question is about the kid library card, and I check mostly like the school district. Is that open also for other nonprofit school or early learning school?
Yes, they are. If you have any contacts that would be interested in doing, thank you, Nancy. Nancy dropped in information about the volunteers. Yes, if you have any contacts or information about schools or early learning centers that would like student library cards or sort of cohort cards, we would absolutely be interested in providing that. And I would be the right person to connect them with.
I'll go. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Others? All right, a big round of thank yous. Thank you for such a collaborative presentation as well. It's nice to hear from all of you. Thank you so much. All right, moving on. Mariela, welcome from Councilwoman Arenas' office.
Hi, good evening. Thank you so much. So, hey everybody, I'm Mariela with Councilwoman Arenas' office. I have just a couple of announcements. The first is that if you recall, last November, Councilmember Arenas advocated to increase the allocation of American Rescue Plan Act dollars from a measly 1 million to up to 10.5 million for children and youth services. And so it was your support that helped us get that 10.5 million. So I wanted to let you know, I want to circle back on it, let you know that just a few weeks ago, the City Council unanimously approved a spending plan for that historic investment. And this funding really enables us to address gaps and invest in system improvements so that we can better serve all children and families. I also want to highlight that that includes some supports that are high priority for our youth, as you heard today. So things like college readiness programs and mental health screenings and referrals. And so this plan really was developed with an equity lens, so we're super proud of that. And several of the programs that are going to be expanded are library programs, led by the amazing library team that you heard from, all evening and that we hear from every month. So we are really grateful for the commission support, for your oversight, and really for your continuous advocacy for these programs. So on behalf of Councilmember Arenas, wanted to thank you. And I also wanted to let you know that this year, and actually every year, so you may have heard about these events, there are Vivo Parks events that come to parks. And so there's going to be over 50 activations this summer. The calendar is going live very soon. And so as soon as it does, we'll make sure to share that with you.
Wow, thank you. 50, that's great.
It's a lot. Yeah, our placemaking team is very busy this summer. So, and they're a lot of fun. They also bring out a lot of resources to the community. So if you're affiliated with an organization, or if you know of an organization that wants to come out and table, please feel free to connect with me, and I'm happy to connect you with the placemaking team. A lot of these events are in our high need neighborhoods in San Jose.
Oh, that's great. That's great. Thank you, Mariela.
Of course.
Give the councilwoman our best, okay?
I will.
Thanks. Have a good one.
Thank you.
Moving on to chair's announcements. I only have a few things just to share. I think you all know probably that we're in the middle of the May revise that the governor puts out at this time, and then it goes back to the legislature to be worked through for compromise by June 15th. The May revise this time is I sat through, not only listened to the mayor himself, or mayor, my goodness, the governor, I'm going to a lot of the events for children that really call out the children's section of the May revise. There's quite a bit. There's definitely quite a bit in it for children from 0 to 5, before and after school, TK, facility development for childcare, health and mental health for infants, toddlers, and caregivers. There's just we're still advocating continuous care for Medi-Cal. So there's just a lot going on, and we'll see once we get to, I'll probably go to 5 more until we get to the June 15th. But I'm happy to see that the state is still putting children at the center of some of their investments from the ARPA dollars and their own. Certainly, we have as you probably all know, we have 97 million in extra funds or over projected funds that it looks like half of it is already committed, but what we'll do with the rest, hard to say. So the other thing is, like, there was a forum for the mayors that are running for office that was specifically addressing early care and education and childcare. So the mayors were asked questions specifically in those arenas. And so it was really nice to see a forum for our mayors that are running where the only thing they're talking about is the well-being of children and families in our community. So that was really a great highlight. And then lastly, the school districts have all their end of the year stuff right now. So it's a great time to go see and listen to awards that are going to schools as they do special things, to employees as they are recognized for their work. And then of course, graduations are on their way. All right, now let's see, Anne or Michelle, are you going to give the director's report?
Yep, sure. I will give the director's report. So it's a long one tonight, so bear with me. We are really proud that we now have over 4,000 new tech devices in our collection. In an effort to continue bringing the digital divide in San Jose through the city's bridging the digital divide in San Jose through the city's SJ Access initiative, the library has added an additional 2,700 filtered AT&T Wi-Fi hotspots to its youth device collection, and 1,500 new filtered Chromebooks, which include a built-in hotspot and larger screen. Youth Chromebooks will be made available for the public to check out next month. To request a device, search for youth hotspots and or youth Chromebooks in SJPL's catalog. To date, the library has allocated 3,331 filtered hotspots, 4,096 unfiltered hotspots, 1,500 filtered Chromebooks, and 600 unfiltered Chromebooks, 35 Dell laptops, and 120 iPads. For more details, please visit sjpl.org/SJ Access. As of Sunday, May 15th, we have some new library hours at King. All of the new hours are available at sjpl.org/hours. We're now going to be open Monday through Thursday, beginning at 8 a.m. and then open until 8 p.m. and also be opening Friday and Saturday at 8 a.m. as well. And of course, we're open on Sundays from 1 to 6. The King Library, though, will be closed on Sunday, May 29th and on Monday, May 30th in observance of Memorial Day. This month, we're celebrating Asian American, Native Hawaiian, and Pacific Islander Heritage Month. We're celebrating the contributions of all of our Asian American, Native American, and Pacific Islander community by hosting a variety of free, informative, and fun events all month long, including crafts, virtual conversations, and a weekly speaker series. You can find a complete list of upcoming events on our website. And as you heard, summer learning is right around the corner, and you're invited to pre-register for our annual summer learning program. And as you heard also, you can win prizes, and all you have to do is track the number of minutes that you read. And summer learning runs from June 1st to July 31st and is open to all ages. Also, Career Online High School congratulates its 141st graduate. On April 26th, our program had its 141st student successfully complete the program and receive their accredited high school diploma and career certificate. Career Online High School allows adults to earn a high school diploma and career certificate over the course of 18 months. All students in the Career Online High School program receive a scholarship. This program is supported by the California State Library and also our San Jose Public Library Foundation. And if you want to help out, we're recruiting for tutors so that you can help others improve their literacy skills. Partners in Reading, our adult literacy unit of the library, is recruiting tutors to help adult learners achieve their literacy goals. Each learner's literacy journey is unique, and tutors craft and develop lesson plans to help learners reach their goal, whether that be reading a story to their children, completing forms and documents, writing emails, or any other way English literacy is used daily. To learn more about PAR or register for the tutor orientation, please visit sjpl.org/PAR tutor. And lastly, I'd like to welcome our new administrative assistant to our library team, Zim Nguyen. She's on our Zoom call tonight, and this is her first week, and this is her very first commission meeting. So please welcome Zim, and that includes my updates.
Thank you, and welcome, Zim. We're very happy to have you. Okay, let's see. We've got Commissioner Kelly and then Commissioner Mendoza.
Yes, thank you very much, Ms. Ornett. A question, I didn't quite hear it. Tell me about those Sunday openings again. Where are they?
We're only open at King on Sundays.
Just King.
Yeah, just King. It's from 1 p.m. to 6 p.m.
I got excited. Sorry.
Yes. No, sorry.
Thank you, Commissioner Mendoza.
Thank you so much for the information. I was just curious, you mentioned that there's new Chromebooks and hotspots. Were those from, not the hotspots, but the Chromebooks or devices, I think you mentioned, were those from the drive that occurred in January, or are these donated by a company or a fund, a grant?
I'm actually going to tap one of our folks who is dealing and working with SJ Access, and I'm going to say, Ann Grabowski, you're it.
I am it. These additional devices were procured through the Emergency Connectivity Fund, which was the federal funding that we were awarded in early March. And so these are brand new devices, hot off the shelves of our retail partner, AT&T. So we know that they're brand new, they're long lasting, they should have a long life in our collection, and we're thrilled to be offering them. The holiday laptop drive that you mentioned only netted about 65 devices, and all of those devices were funneled to our digital inclusion and digital literacy grant programs for device giveaways for those that are enhancing their digital literacy skills.
Perfect, thank you. I'm assuming these, even though they're filtered hotspots and Chromebooks, adults can check them out, or okay.
They can.
Perfect, thank you.
We do, just to ensure compliance with the federal grant requirements, we encourage and ask people to self-certify that they don't have sufficient internet access at home and that they are engaged in an educational activity. But we don't have strict parameters about what that is, and self-certification is sufficient. We don't ask additional questions.
Perfect, thank you so much. Just curious because we have the committee looking at the filters currently. And so thank you so much.
Thank you. That's great. Thank you for the report. Very long report, and it was great. Thanks, Michelle. All right, so I'm going to open the floor for commissioners who would like to make any announcements, or either they attended a meeting as a commissioner, or they'd like to give any updates on meetings they attended. All right. Oh, Commissioner Thorson.
Hi, I attended the community budget meeting virtually that was held earlier this month, and then the budget study session that was last week. And at both, there were other people who spoke in support of the library, and at the budget study session, there were a lot of questions from council members and the mayor about the library funding and the different scenarios that were presented in MBA number 6 that Dawn sent to all of us last week. I think there is support for increasing the library hours. It's just we don't have, as far as I know, any promises at this point. So anyone who can attend the upcoming community budget meetings and write to their council members to voice support would be great.
Thank you. Did you, so you got, Commissioner Thorson, you got a good read that there was nobody struggling with the decision or thinking it was a good idea? Is that kind of how the vibe you got off of all the council members, or was there any council member that was like, no, we don't have time to expand in this period of time, or what have you?
I don't know that we could get the full funding for all branches having Sunday hours. I think they were interested in maybe like a kind of staged plan to get to that point, but everyone seems supportive of the idea. I think the question is just the funding itself. So I guess if we had like all the money, I think everyone would support it, but and maybe others will have additional comments, but that was my impression.
I appreciate that. And Mariella, I hope you'll take back to Councilwoman Arenas that, you know, this is something really important to the library, that we want to be funded back pre-pandemic hours. And we certainly believe it's an equity issue when it comes to Sunday hours for people to be able to access the library on the weekend. So our hearts are there. We know that so is Councilwoman Arenas, but this is something pretty important to us to make sure we flag for you.
Absolutely, I will.
Thank you. Thank you, Commissioner Thorson. Anyone else? All right, then we're back to you, Commissioner Thorson, on an update for the Library Foundation.
Yes. So the foundation has a new team member, Joshua Hayes Fugel, will be joining as Don Coppin's executive assistant and serve as board liaison. So that's really exciting news. Also, on April 28th, the foundation held a fundraising event for SJ Aspires with Jill, the mayor, donors, and students in attendance at Mexican Heritage Plaza. So that was I've heard that was a fun event and very successful. And then just wanted to share these links for the upcoming budget meetings where you can speak in support of the library and the city's budget. The next one is at Tully Library on Saturday, May 21st from 10 to noon, and you can go in person or join on Zoom. And the following one is Monday, the 23rd of May from 6 to 8 p.m. at Mexican Heritage Plaza, and that also has a Zoom option. And if you aren't able to attend those sessions, you can email your council member and the mayor. There's a link to their contact information that I shared, and you're welcome to share that with other people you know who love the library. And then lastly, the other tool we have to advocate is the budget calculator called Balancing Act. So you can go in there and determine what you think the city budget should be, and indicate your support for the library there as well. So just wanted to share those and say, please attend if any of you have any questions about what the community budget meeting is like. I'm happy to share that, but I think that we all are really excited to eventually work towards having Sunday hours and restore the library hours. So if you can speak and support the advocacy committee, would be very grateful. And that's everything. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you, Commissioner Thorson. Any questions for Commissioner? Okay, I'm going to go back. When I say announcements, I have two sets of notes. So just for clarity, so people know, when I say announcements for commissioners or updates for commissioners attending meetings as a commissioners, that is inclusive of friends groups. And so if there's anybody that would like to report out any friend group meeting that they participated in as a commissioner, now would be the time. And thank you for bringing that to my attention, Commissioner Kelly. Commissioner Kelly.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. That's a great interest of mine, as you know.
Yeah.
I'm working with 3 libraries right now, Bascom, Cambrian, and Pearl. And I'm pleased to announce that all those friend groups are up and running and doing really well, which creates a problem because those 3 libraries have a terrible excess of books on hand, and we don't know what to do with them. We would hate to have to just recycle the books. So I'm curious if there is some way to store those somewhere in preparation, perhaps working with Jean on the opening of new friends groups so that those entities would have books to work with. For example, Cambrian Library has 184 boxes unopened of donations. Bascom has roughly 60 boxes of backup, and we're just completely out of space. Pearl, I'm not sure of yet on that one. So that would be something that would be very helpful to probably groups that are starting. And finally, a request, if you can help us get the Book Nook light fixed at Cambrian, that would be appreciated. Can't seem to get that thing turned on, and people have to work in the dark trying to buy books.
Commissioner Kelly, Jean and I'll connect and we'll follow up with you on that and the managers as well. Okay.
Terrific. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, moving along. Thank you, Michelle. Moving along, as we know, again, if there are any commissioners or staff that are want to share participation in upcoming events or want to let folks know about upcoming events, now would be your time. Oh, we're moving right along. Okay, as we move on, the last is our meeting schedule, and it looks like our next meeting is June 15th via Zoom. So be there. It'll be the last one before we have a break in the summer in July, and we will be happy to see everyone for the summer. All right, it is 8:25, and I hope everyone has a great week, and we are adjourned. Bye, everyone.
Thanks, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.